What's up YouTube? Before we start, I want to give a brief description about this video. I'll be explaining key things you need to know when playing man-to-man coverage. These things will help you take your game to the next level. So let's learn and get better today. Pre-snap reads. Before every play, we have to look at the offensive formation and the alignment of our man. Making these reads will make our job easier. If you've been studying your opponent, you will be able to limit certain routes just by knowing where the receiver is lined up at. For example, if he's at the top of the numbers on the short side of the field, I could expect outside routes and fade. If he's lined up at the bottom of the numbers, I could expect inside routes, slants, digs, stuff like that. Alright, check this play out. Alright, looking at the bottom of the screen, look like Stephon Gilmore is playing inside leverage of the receiver, right? He understands it's 3rd and 5. He sees the receiver is lined up at the bottom of the numbers, so he is expecting an inside route, right? So if you look at him, he's looking at the quarterback, reading the 3-step. He sees the 3-step, and he's sitting and breaks on this slant. Look at the way he attacks the ball and runs through the receiver, right? Makes a great play on this ball. Eyes. When playing man-to-man, our eyes is very important. We gotta be disciplined and have our eyes at the right spot at all times. Remember, hips don't lie, right? The receiver's hips will tell us everything we need to know about his route, when they're breaking in and out and when they're ready to make a cut. I know a lot of coaches say look at the hips, but I like to teach look at the closest hip. Make our target as small as possible so we can really keep our eyes focused on where it needs to be. Let's take a look at Pat P right here. Let's rewind this. If you look closely, right? Where's his helmet facing? It's facing down, right? Right on his closest hip. He already made his pre-snap read, so he's probably expecting this to be a slant, but still, look how disciplined he is with his eyes. He's focused on his target, and once he realizes the receiver's breaking in for a slant, he locates the ball and makes a play. Patience. When playing man-to-man, press or off-man, we have to be patient and let the receiver tell us their story, right? We want to really focus on their hips and react on their breaks. Read and react. Let's look at the bottom of the screen. Let's check out Jalen Ramsey. This is similar to the last play with Pat P, where we want to look at how patient Ramsey is with his route. He doesn't panic. He's trusting his technique and he's playing inside leverage. He's letting the receiver tell his story. Once he realizes it's a slant or an in, he locates the ball and plays through the receiver's hand and makes a play. Route recognition. When playing man, you have to be able to recognize the depth of routes. As the receiver is running his route, you should be able to know how many yards he's ran, and you should be able to eliminate routes throughout the process to make it easier for you to cover the receiver. This is a great example of route recognition by Pat P. Press man inside leverage with a good jam. He's running with Julio Jones, but look how close the receiver is to the sideline. He doesn't have a lot of room, right? Pat P knows that and has already eliminated all routes except the fade. So with a good position, he turns back and looks for the ball and becomes the receiver. Don't panic. As a DB, there's going to be times when the receiver gets lucky and has us beat. When we're beat, We have to stay calm and continue to run and close the gap. Once the gap is closed, we can play the receiver's hands and violently knock the ball out their hands. And always remember, have a short-term memory and move on to the next play. You can't do anything about the last play. We gotta focus on now. Look at the corner top of the screen. It's 4th and 10, right? Alright. He's playing over top because he knows the down and distance, right? He realized he's near the sticks, so he slows down, expecting a back shoulder, but it wasn't. So he's slightly beat now, right? Gilmore doesn't panic, he stays calm and recovers and plays the receiver's hand. He waits and punches the ball out the receiver's hand. Look at this in slow motion. That's a great play. Never give up. No matter what you do in life, you have to fight and never give up. When a receiver catches a pass on you, you have to finish the play. Tackle him, rip the ball out of his hands. You want the receiver to know it's going to be tough to catch a pass on you. Nothing comes easy on your island. Bottom of the screen, press man. Receiver catches a pass on us. Okay, it happens. But we got to make sure the receiver knows it ain't going to be easy. Jalen doesn't give up and get upset, right? He violently strips the ball out of the receiver's hand and causes a fumble, making sure the receiver knows that nothing is easy on this island. Now this last clip is here to show no matter how you start, you always got to finish. Don't ever give up on the play. Make sure you finish at your best.